Welcome to Workplace Psychology with Dr. Martha Grajdek. I'm Dr. Martha Grajdek. This podcast examines a wide variety of work-related issues through the lens of industrial and organizational psychology. And while many of the topics discussed here may be seen as intended for white-collar employees and their employers, in reality, the ideas presented here are applicable across organizations and industries. Additionally, many of the topics discussed here may be applicable outside of the workplace. I encourage you to examine what's presented here, apply what makes sense to you, and simply discard the rest. You may have heard the term toxic positivity. This is something that can happen at work as well as outside of work. But for the purpose of this podcast episode, let's focus on toxic positivity, how it looks, what it is, and what it does to the workplace experience. In simple terms, toxic positivity is nothing more than positivity that has been taken too far. It's where someone insists on dismissing anything that may seem negative emotions, negative circumstances, negative consequences, and insists on solely focusing on that which is positive with the understanding or the belief or the expectation that that's all it takes to resolve any and all issues. When taken too far, it's that approach of positivity, of positive thinking, that can really turn into something toxic. Sometimes toxic positivity is also called positive toxicity. And oftentimes it comes down to nothing more than trying to mask insecurities with positivity, which is not genuine or effective. And while in reality, there's nothing wrong with being positive and trying to find the silver lining. It is when we dismiss anything negative, any negative feelings or emotions or realities, that the positivity we're attempting to grasp becomes not only ineffective, but detrimental and therefore toxic. How does toxic positivity differ from simply being positive or positive thinking? Well, positive thinking is rooted in reality. While you may be looking to find the silver lining in a situation, you are also looking to be realistic and aiming to find true answers, true solutions to your problems. Toxic positivity, on the other hand, overlooks anything that's negative, including feelings, and insists that being positive for long enough about enough things will somehow resolve all issues. Oftentimes, it resembles avoidance more than anything else. So while positive thinking is rooted in reality and is interested in finding real solutions, toxic positivity seems to avoid reality and prefers a fantasy of sorts. It's no surprise then that overusing positivity to the point of toxicity really tends to cover up or overlook reality. This can be an issue when you're trying to resolve problems. It's not difficult to understand why this could be problematic, especially in a workplace environment. You may be wondering, how does this toxic positivity affect employees and the workplace environment? Well, for one, it can create more stress and anxiety, both of which can lead to things such as burnout. It can also create an environment where reality and truth are not welcomed. They may be dismissed or even denied. That is not a good working environment, especially when you're seeking solutions to problems and are aiming for those solutions to be rooted in truth and reality. There's an even scarier and uglier side to toxic positivity. In some cases, it can lead to increased use of substances, alcohol, drug use. In other instances, it may lead to increased likelihood or worsening of mental health for some. So while it may be tempting to focus solely on positivity, there is a note of caution, a big red flag. As I said earlier, there's a time and a place for positive thinking. But when taken to the extreme, it can have a detrimental effect on employees, on the work environment, and on many situations within the organization. As we consider toxic positivity, it's important that both the organization and the individual employees focus on fostering the kind of environment that does not lend itself to toxic positivity. What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, first and foremost, honesty is important. Creating a safe space to communicate is key. And encouraging open conversations and realistic optimism are very important. Leaders have an opportunity here and the responsibility to create an environment that promotes psychological safety. Without psychological safety, it's difficult to expect honesty and open communication. So while generally speaking, positive thinking and a general positive approach to things can be very helpful, we have to be mindful of it going too far. Toxic positivity can be detrimental both to individual employees, the workplace experience, and to the organization as a whole. As this episode comes to an end, let's review what was discussed. Toxic positivity is a real thing, and whether we're considering it in the workplace or outside of the workplace, it can be harmful and detrimental. Whereas positive thinking is rooted in reality and seeking real solutions to real problems. Toxic positivity dismisses anything that's negative, including negative feelings and emotions. It's difficult to find real situations when realities are dismissed and ignored. Toxic positivity can actually be detrimental, not only to individual employees and the workplace environment, but to the organization as a whole as well. Focusing on the positive and looking for the silver lining has its place, of course, but it's important that positivity is not taken too far to the point where it becomes detrimental. And remember that individual employees as well as the organization both have the opportunity and the responsibility of fostering the kind of environment that embraces focus on reality and real solutions. That includes positive and negative aspects. It is through that balance that real solutions can be found. Focusing on only the positive to the point of denying reality is likely to backfire every time. As this week unfolds, I encourage you to consider toxic positivity as it may exist in your own workplace. Whether you're a business owner or leader or manager, or someone who is in a non-management position within an organization, it's up to you to pay attention to what's going on around you and what is going on with you. Are you someone who is embracing a balance, focusing on reality where both positive and negative things exist? Or are you trying to dismiss or deny reality by focusing too much on positivity? In other words, are you contributing to the problem, or are you contributing to the kind of environment that embraces reality? For those of you who experience this podcast in an audio-only version, I encourage you to check out my YouTube channel, Stress Free with Dr. G, where you can find the video version of this podcast. In addition to that, you can also find other videos which focus on a comprehensive approach to stress management. So I encourage you to check out Stress Free with Dr. G on YouTube. The link for that is in the description below. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to this podcast. I look forward to seeing you here again next time. Until then, I wish you joy and well-being.